Intermittent fasting, IF, has become increasingly popular over the years, thanks to its purported health benefits, including weight loss, improved metabolism, and better mental focus. Many individuals use IF to manage their weight and live a healthier life. Nonetheless, it's important to do it right to avoid potentially negative outcomes for your body. In this article, we'll explore what you shouldn't do when fasting. Fasting is not just about abstaining from food and drinks for a particular period. Instead, it's about controlling and managing your eating habits to derive the maximum benefits. That said, fasting requires a great deal of discipline and dedication. However, many people make critical mistakes that can have adverse effects on their health, such as breaking their fast the wrong way or eating food that negatively impacts their health. In this blog post, we'll delve into some of the common mistakes that people make while fasting, and what you should avoid doing. 1. Don't eat or drink anything with calories during your fast. Welcome to the document of what you shouldn't do when fasting. First on the list is this golden rule. Don't eat any food or drink anything with calories during your fasting period. This might seem like an obvious one, but you'd be surprised by how many people break this rule without even realizing it. You might think that adding a little milk to your coffee, a dash of cream to your soup, or even chewing a piece of gum won't make a difference, but it will. This is because it triggers an insulin response in your body, which pretty much defeats the whole purpose of fasting. So, if you want to stay on the right track, make sure you go for plain water, black coffee, tea, or other non-caloric beverages. Trust us, it'll be worth it in the end when you hit those fasting goals. 2. Avoid sugary drinks like soda, juice, and sports drinks. If you're planning to fast, there are a few things you should keep in mind to make sure you don't compromise your goals. One thing you should definitely avoid during your fast is sugary drinks. This includes soda, juice, and sports drinks. These beverages often contain high amounts of added sugar, which can lead to a spike in insulin and make you feel hungry again shortly after consuming them. Plus, they will also break your fast and defeat the purpose of the fast in the first place. Instead, stick to water, tea, or coffee to help keep you hydrated and satisfied during your fast. It may take some getting used to, but your body will thank you in the long run. 3. Don't overeat during your non-fasting periods to make up for the missed meals. When it comes to fasting, it can be tempting to try and make up for the missed meals during your non-fasting periods. But let me tell you, this is not the way to go. Overeating during your eating times can lead to consuming more calories than you need, which can ultimately hinder your weight loss goals. So, while it might be tempting to stuff your face with all the burgers, pizzas, and ice cream when your fast is over, try to resist the urge. Stick to your normal eating patterns and consume healthy, wholesome foods to get the most out of your fast. Remember, fasting is all about balance and moderation, so don't let your cravings get the best of you. 4. Stay away from alcohol, as it can interfere with the fasting process. Hey there! If you're planning to fast anytime soon, there are a few things you should keep in mind to make the most of this cleansing process. One of the things you shouldn't do is drink alcohol. Yup, we know, it's a bummer. But the truth is alcohol can interfere with the fasting process, and that's the last thing you want. Alcohol contains sugars and calories that your body needs to process, which can distract it from the job of restoring and rejuvenating your cells. Plus, alcohol can leave you feeling dehydrated, which isn't great when you're already limiting your food and drink intake. So, if you want to make the most of your fast, it's best to steer clear of booze for a while. Trust us, your body will thank you for it. 5. Don't consume any caffeine during your fasting period. When it comes to fasting, there are some things you should avoid at all costs to make sure you're getting the most out of your fast. One of those things is caffeine. That's right, folks, you'll have to say goodbye to your beloved coffee during your fasting period. This might be tough for some of us caffeine addicts, but it's important to remember that consuming caffeine can actually hinder the benefits of fasting. Caffeine can increase insulin levels and affect blood glucose, sabotaging your fast entirely. So, unless you want to undo all the hard work you put in, it's best to avoid caffeine altogether. You'll thank yourself later when you're reaping all the benefits of a successful fast. 6. Don't skip meals during your non-fasting period, as it can lead to binge eating later. Hey there, folks. Let's talk about what you shouldn't do when fasting. Number 6 on our list is one you definitely want to pay attention to. Don't skip meals during your non-fasting period, as it can lead to binge eating later. It's tempting to skip a meal in hopes of losing some extra weight, but it's actually counterproductive. When you skip a meal, your hunger hormones go crazy, and you end up eating more later on. This often leads to overeating or binge eating, which defeats the purpose of fasting in the first place. Instead, focus on having balanced and healthy meals during your non-fasting periods to avoid any unnecessary snacking or binge eating later. Stay smart, folks. 7. Avoid processed foods and stick to whole, nutritious foods during your non-fasting periods. When you're fasting, it's essential to be mindful of what you eat during your non-fasting periods. One mistake that many people make is consuming processed foods instead of whole, nutritious foods. Processed foods are often loaded with added sugars, sodium, and unhealthy fats that can lead to weight gain and other health issues. Instead of reaching for those packaged snacks or takeout meals, opt for whole, nutrient-dense foods like fresh fruits and vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains. These foods will help nourish your body and keep you satisfied without undoing all the progress you've made during your fasting periods. So, be mindful of your food choices and choose healthy options whenever possible. 8. Don't engage in intense exercise during your fasting period, as it can lead to low blood sugar. If you're planning on doing some intermittent fasting, there are a few things you'll want to keep in mind. For starters, you don't want to engage in any high-intensity exercise during your fasting period, as it can lead to low blood sugar. Trust me, there's nothing worse than feeling dizzy and light-headed during a workout, especially when you've got an empty stomach. Stick to some light cardio or yoga during your fasting period, and save the intense stuff for after you've broken your fast. Your body will thank you later. 9. Avoid snacking or grazing throughout the day, as it can break your fast and ruin your progress. When it comes to fasting, one of the things you absolutely shouldn't do is snack or graze throughout the day. It might be tempting to reach for a handful of chips or a piece of chocolate to curb your hunger pangs, but doing so can completely break your fast and ruin any progress you've made. Even if it's just a bite or two, any food you eat will trigger your body to start digesting and absorbing nutrients, which will take you out of your fasted state. To reap the benefits of fasting, it's important to stick to your designated eating window and avoid snacking altogether. 10. Don't fast for longer than recommended, as it can have negative effects on your health. One of the biggest mistakes you can make when fasting is to push your limits and fast for longer than recommended. Sure, you might be able to stick it out for a few extra days, but the truth is that it can have serious negative effects on your health. Skipping meals for an extended period of time can lead to fatigue, dizziness, and dehydration. Plus, it can mess with your metabolism and make it harder for your body to burn fat. So, if you're new to fasting, don't try to be a hero and stick to the recommended timeline. Your health is more important than hitting a certain number of hours or days. To conclude, fasting can have numerous health benefits if done correctly, but it's important to know what you shouldn't do when fasting to avoid any potential negative effects. Avoiding over-exercising, overeating during non-fasting periods, consuming sugary drinks, and forgetting to keep yourself hydrated are some of the common mistakes that should be avoided while fasting. By being mindful of these don'ts, you can make the most of your fasting experience and achieve your health goals.